Hey everyone, this is Dan from Headmania, and I'm going to redo the review for ZMF Calderas because I've seen the feedback and it's a very good feedback, the fact that the audio was bad, and I apologize for that. It was a very windy day. I tried to use the microphones for Bose Quiet Comfort 2 to compensate with that wind, but apparently it was not good. So here we are, because nobody will, this product is amazing, and I think that I did not do it justice with the video review. However, check the description below because you will find the written review, which has a lot of details, measurements, and everything you can find out in detail about these headphones. But let's get back to the video review. So first of all, I first listened to these headphones and ZMF headphones in the high-end audio show in München this year, and I loved it a lot. This is where I also met Zach, and I liked the guy, and I felt like the passion was very visible. He was a very passionate guy, and I love this when I meet people in this hobby. So I thank him for the opportunity of giving me this review unit for this review. And by the way, these are the ZMF Calderas. This is the top of the line from ZMF headphones. These are planar magnetic headphones. You can read more about how they were built and more details about the headphones in the written review. And by the way, I would appreciate if you guys hit the like button on this review and the subscribe to the channel, because it motivates me to do more material like this. Because as you know, this is just, this is not what I do for the living. This is a hobby of mine, and taking a lot of time to do this because I like this. So it will be motivational. So first of all, if you look at the headphones, they look amazing. I loved how they look. You can see the craft here. You can see the details, and you can see the finishings. It's basically a luxury feeling, and they're definitely a beautiful headphone to look at in general. I also loved that they're quite comfortable. I didn't have any issues with using them for hours and hours without any pause. So this is actually it's a very comfortable headphone, right? If you look at the packages, you'll find pictures in the written review, but the box it comes into is like probably it will outlast an apocalypse. It's very sturdy, and I also like the fact that I received a lot of earpads, and I did a lot of testing in that regard, and basically I also measured all of them and what difference you will hear in the sound. And you also see that on the measurements I did. So check that in the written review. Basically, I tested the stock pads. I tested the lambskin stock pads. I also tested the sweet pads, the thin cowhide and thin lambskin pads, but also the thick cow pads. The thick cow ear pads, sorry. And and the ultra performance pads. And it was a lot of testing there, and I would say that I'm not a very handy person or good with hands in general, and it was kind of hard to change all of them. It's not necessarily the best or the easiest process to do that. I noticed that after a couple of tries, the dexterity increased for me, and that's basically that helped. But I would definitely see if I would like to see a different way of changing earpads, because they do have an impact on the sound, and they are very good quality earpads. So. As a very short description, I would say that the stock pads were the lambskin pads were kind of similar to the thin one, and let's start with the thin ones. Both the thin cowhide and lambskin had something in common. The sound was kind of closer to you, more of a in-your-face experience. And bear in mind that this will be a different experience for everyone, because the size of the head matters. The pressure that it will be put on the head and on the ear pads, the closer the drivers are to the ears, will basically make a difference. So for me, I would say that the thin ear pads were kind of in front or in your face kind of sound. They were closer to the sound in general, a bit more aggressive, and you will see that it has a peak near 4 kilohertz and kind of a big dip in between 3 and 4 kilohertz. That is kind of apparent in the sound as well. However, the problem that I had with them is that the soundstage was not as natural, not as cohesive as with the others. It's like basically I felt like I was very close to a very big screen. Then the stock lambskin was kind of close to this experience, but they were more enjoyable because I didn't have this in-your-face experience. I felt that the soundstage was good and the sounds had the space to form better, but they still presented kind of a dip in the 3 and 4 kilohertz and the peak in 4. The ultra pads, I would say that they're quite interesting because they are the most detailed from all of the pads, and you will see that it's also apparent in the measurement because you will have better presence between 2 and 4 kilohertz in general, and you don't. You basically lose a bit from the fullness of the bass, but it's still a very good experience there. But it's not as powerful as, for example, with the thick cow pads, the thick cowhide ear pads. So definitely that's an enjoyable experience with the ultra performance. The sweet pads were also quite good, and I would say that they offered good linearity, and I lost less depth of bass than I expected with the sweet pads. But definitely a good experience in general. Not as detailed or present in the upper between in the upper mid range or between 2 and 4 kilohertz, but definitely a very good and well presented, balanced experience with the sweet pads as well. And it also helps with the fact that it's not, you don't get as your ears don't get as heated as with the others. In terms of my preference was the thick cowhide, and these are the pads. And I liked them because they offered, from my experience, or in my experience, they offered the best soundstage, the more holographic and immersive experience from that perspective. And also the bass was a bit more punchy and had very good depth as well. But it also had a good linearity between, let's say, 1 and 3 kilohertz, and did not 4 kilohertz actually, and did not have a big deep in between 3 and 4. So overall, a very good experience with these, and I actually like this is actually my preference with the Calderas. Now let's start a bit on how I tested it. First of all, I would test it on my system, which is mostly formed, from the Rockna Wavelight DAC and the Bliss KTE headphone amplifier. The system is not as simple. You can read more about it in the written review. But it was a very good match, and I think Bliss KT, as you can see in one of my reviews, is a very good match for most of the headphones. So it was a very good experience with these headphones as well. I also tested these headphones with movies and games, and it was a really nice experience. And I would say that because I think that the mid-range, and as Zach mentions, he emphasizes on the region between 1 and 3 kilohertz, and I think that's very close to my preference because I hate the peaks between 3 and 4. This creates a very it creates better tonality. It creates more engaging experience. In the mid range, it has a better presence. It has better textures. You hear all of the atmosphere around you in movies. Everything is more natural. The vocals are very clear, and basically it creates a very immersive experience with anything from games, music, and movies. So let's get back to the summary of the whole sound of ZMF Caldera. So if you look at the bass section, this is one of the most fun and the most immersive basses I've ever heard in headphones in general, and it was a very pleasant experience, excellent experience with Caldera, because it has a thunderous depth. It delivers both a powerful punch and considerable weight. So if you make a parallel with physics, if the momentum P is the mass multiplied by speed, the mass of the music promises a significant impact because the mass is quite big, right? The bass stands further out because of the sustained control and decay. In essence, even if the attack's impact were removed, the decay remains remarkable, showcasing sustained detail and control characteristics. In summary, the bass is punchy, well controlled, and possesses impressive depth. I mean, I really love this about these headphones, and that doesn't stop here, because the mid-range is also where the magic happens with these headphones. It's where Caldera truly shines. It consistently impresses across all frequencies, boasting excellent presence and textures from the lower to upper mid-range. Instruments and voices come alive, from guitars, woodwind instruments to vocals, all exuding fullness, texture, and detail. The captivating mid-range combined with the robust bass enhances both music and multimedia experiences. Zach's emphasis between 1 and 3 kHz frequency range clearly pays dividends. The treble, compared to other headphones, Caldera leans toward the darker side, especially when compared to brands or headphones from Hi-Fidelity, for example. While it might lack a bit bite in the treble region, it compensates with introducing ample air into the soundstage, ensuring it doesn't feel overly dark. The balance makes the Caldera ideal for extended listening sessions, and it's free from any harsh or grating sounds. So this is why I managed to use Caldera for hours without any strain on my ears whatsoever. A pleasure experience overall. The dynamics and the transients are also good in this with these headphones. I would say that the dynamism and energy and the enthusiasm of the headphone is quite addictive. They have a very potent attack, especially pronounced in the lower notes, and it's detailed and it also has a very detailed and controlled decay. While the attack might lack some of the sharpness you find in other headphones, it compensates with its sheer weight and impact. It's basically, if you want to make a comparison, it's like being hit by an empty punch, but compared to a very big glove on the on the punch, on the fist actually. Sorry. So another very good part of these headphones are the fact that the vocals are nothing short of amazing. Their tonality and texture is give a natural feel and basically makes it a standout feature. The excellent frequency response, particularly between 1 and 3 kHz, and actually not only from 20 kHz to 3 kHz, it's undoubtedly actually making this happen, and it's helping with this. The soundstage and imaging, as I mentioned, the soundstage is quite holographic, and everything is well placed around you, and you can focus on layers and instruments alone. But the soundstage, what I love about it is it sounds very natural. It's very holographic. It's like basically being immersed into that experience. It has a very good balance between width and depth and height, and so basically it's another very good thing that it helps with both music, movies, and games. Not both, all three of these. And another thing that I love about it is the tonality. I'm reiterating this because I probably mentioned it numerous times already. The tonality is captivating. It's probably also the fact that it hits exactly my preferences. They don't exhibit any harshness, and while leaning towards the dark end of the spectrum, they are not overly so. The soundstage retains ample airness, and everything is rendered with fullness, naturalness, and texture. So this is kind of the summary of the headphones in terms of how it sounds. But let's compare it a bit with the other headphones that I own. For example, the Meze Elite. And we're going to start with that. These headphones have more alike than different. So they're more alike than different. And I'm going to get into it in a moment. Basically, you will see on the written review the measurements as well and the differences. But what is important is that both are more in the euphonic part of the spectrum in terms of headphone experiences, and they're both very well suited for long listening sessions. I would say that the first thing that comes to mind when you listen to Elite is that the sound is a bit bigger, right? Because probably it's also because of the fact that they have bigger drivers. The soundstage is good on both. While it's a bit bigger on Elite, I would say that the depth is a bit bigger on Calderas. It's a bit bigger sounding in general on Elite, but the depth is a bit bigger on Caldera. And I would say that both are really good here, and both offer immersive experiences in anything you listen to. In terms of attack, Elite is a bit more. It presents a bit more strength. The gap isn't substantial, but it's there. Instruments exhibit a sharper bite with Elite, and especially during plucking of instruments. Right? Caldera, in contrast, tends to sound fuller, compensating in its impact with richer body and commendable control over detail. When it comes to the bass, Caldera appears to edge out, presenting more detail and control, especially in sub-bass regions. If I were to summarize, the bass feels more dynamic with Caldera. Mid-range dynamics reveal further intricacies. Caldera mid-range presence is more prominent towards 3 kHz, while Elite shines between 3 and 4 kHz. This results in vocals and instruments feeling more present and full-bodied on Caldera, whereas Elite offers a touch more airness and bite, primarily due to its strength between 3 and 4 kHz. Notably, the specific frequency range distinction became apparent in songs like Scooter, ATB, referenced earlier, making Caldera my preferred choice in this type of music. Because while Elite performs admirably, the songs are better rendered on Caldera and more dynamic, and those are not very well recorded songs. Conclusively, the Elite might come across as slightly speedier and more detailed, but the differences are not that big. Both headphones have provided me with immense pleasure, and choice between them largely boils down to personal preferences. And also, don't forget that Caldera is a bit more intimate sounding and focused on the lower part of the spectrum and lower mid-range. When it comes to comparing the Calderas with the Hi-Fi-Man 1000 AC, this is a very interesting comparison because this time they are quite different. So you'll see that the tonal differences are very well and very easily noticeable, and you'll find this apparent in the measurements as well. Basically, the 1000 AC has marked prominence between 2.5 kHz and 4.5 kHz, and also it has a peak around 8, where Calderas actually has a dip. So kicking off the soundstage dimensions, I would say that the 1000 AC from the start sounds taller and bigger in sound because they have a bigger driver, but it doesn't quite match the depth, width, or naturalness of Caldera and even the holography of the Caldera or the Elite. In terms of speed and detail, the 1000 AC stands out. Yes, the overall experience, it doesn't feel as, but the overall experience in the detail and speed section is something that you can say, yeah, Hi-Fi-Man Elite, Hi-Fi-Man 1000 AC is what stands out, and this is one of the best headphones I've heard in that area. But the overall listening experience doesn't feel as cohesive. My primary reservation lies in its pronounced emphasis between 2.5 and 4.5 kHz, which renders them somewhat shouty. While this characteristic can enhance detail and lend an airy quality to the soundtracks, it also has the downside of causing listening fatigue over extended listening periods. This also makes them feel less natural compared to the other two. Touching upon the bass performance, while the 1000 AC is actually very impressive, and it has a very strong punch, good detail. It doesn't seem that it has a very well sustained decay. Not actually, it has a good sustained decay, but it is more prominent on Caldera, and I would say that the bass is a bit more detailed on Caldera. But also this might be influenced by the fact that the 1000 AC's upper mid-range and treble sometimes overshadows the bass and the mid-range. They offer different experience. I would say that definitely it's a personal choice here as well. They have strong points, both of them different strong points. But in my preference, I like the Caldera from a sound signature perspective and the overall listening experience, especially from the natural tonality perspective. So this is basically the comparison between the two headphones that I mentioned, and I would say that in conclusion, these headphones impressed me a lot. I love them. I mean, they became one of my favorite headphones of all time, and they're doing a great job in pulling me in a musical realm, but where I basically lose track of time. Over the past month, I've constantly found myself drawn to them, cementing their position as one of my all-time favorite headphones. Their natural and engaging sound signature, particularly in the bass and mid-range, kept me captivated and anchored to my listening chair. Their versatility shone through, proving an exceptional experience for gaming and movies as well. Without doubt, I've frequently found myself reaching for these remarkable headphones. In conclusion, they are one of the most euphonic and enjoyable headphones I found in this price range, and I recommend anyone who's into this hobby to give them a try and listen, because they are well deserved. Hopefully, I gave you a good remake with a better sound quality this time, and I apologize again for the first video where I did not have good sound quality. And again, the feedback was well received, and you can see here that I tried to remake it. So thank you guys, and see you in the next video.